Well, howdy, friends and floorheads. It is a rare Monday night here on the channel, and we are playing what is possibly, it's definitely my top 5 favorite RPGs of all time. It would be a contender for the number 1 spot. We have played it now a handful of times here on the channel. I have played it 15 or 20 times in person with people. It is my gateway RPG. So when I encounter a bunch of board game friends who have never done an RPG, I say, well, let's try this game. And even if you've never done it before, it kind of is a great introduction to the hobby. Now, normally, the way it works is you have a stack of cards, but obviously we're playing virtually. And the first 14 cards are the directions. They teach you the game by reading it. I'm going to read these cards aloud for the sake of speed and brevity. But by the time I'm done reading, we're going to start playing, and everybody, including you, is going to know how to play. Card number 1, we go around the table clockwise, taking turns reading these cards aloud. I am breaking that rule right out of the gate. I'm going to read all of them. Number 2, the land has been in turmoil for as long as any of you have been alive. The Queen has decided to undertake a long and perilous journey to broker an alliance with a distant power. The Queen has chosen all of you and no one else to be her retinue and accompany her on this journey. She chose you because she knows that you love her. You are welcome to look through the illustrated cards for inspiration. If there's one that players are drawn to, display it on the table to represent your queen. We're going to do that at the end of the directions. We're going to pick our queen. Find the card that reads, "The queen is under attack. Do you defend her?" And remove it from the question card deck. Then shuffle the remaining question cards and place them face down on the center of the table. I have already done this. Place the card that reads, "The queen is under attack. Do you defend her?" randomly in the middle of the question card deck for a game that lasts about an hour, or in the bottom third of the deck for a game that lasts about 2 hours. I have randomly placed it a little bit below center, so I'm guessing this could be anywhere from an hour to 90 minutes. When you have read the rules cards, take turns drawing question cards and reading them aloud. Interpret your card and answer it however you wish. Other players may ask you questions or make suggestions on your turn, but whether you answer those questions or include those suggestions is entirely up to you. Place the X card somewhere everyone can easily reach it. Here on the channel, we always have an X card. It's handled privately. Only the people at the table can see it, but there is an X card, and we have done lines and veils. If you encounter a question or an answer that you don't want to be included in the game, tap the X card. That content will be removed from the game. We've already discussed this before we came online. If you draw a card that is removed this way by yourself or someone else, simply draw another card and continue your usual turn. You can also choose not to take a turn on any round. To do so, say pass. The next player can answer the question you drew or draw a new one as they prefer. Continue answering questions until the queen is under attack card is drawn. Each player should answer that question in turn, and then the game is over. Whoever wants to draw the first question card. Okay, so I will draw the first question card, but first we need a queen. So what I'm going to do is go to the queen deck, and I'm going to deal each of us 3 queens. Let's see. Cancel. Let's see. Deal 3. All players. Interesting. Why isn't it let me deal? All right, let's try it this way, Craig S. Navi.
That's how you know it's live.
Yeah, that's how you know it's live, because nothing always works. All right. All right, I don't know why it's doing this, so we'll do this a different way. All right, so I'm going to deal, these are shuffled. I'm going to deal 5 queen cards out to our table. Starting with me, I'm going to eliminate 1. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let me decide, which one do I want to get rid of? I think I am going to eliminate the most traditional one. So I'm going to eliminate this one. Z, of the 4, Which one do you want to eliminate?
They're all gorgeous.
They are.
I think I'm going to remove the one on the very left, the Dream Queen.
The Dream Queen. Okay, so let me bring that up on screen. So we're going to get rid of her. Craig H., you have 3 left. Which one do you wish to eliminate?
The center one with the queen with the butterfly wings.
All right. So Navi, of our 2 queens, who is going to be our queen?
Oh, I gotta go with the Empress.
You like the on the right?
Mm-hmm.
Love it. All right. So this is our queen. Now here's what's key. And this is why I love this game. We know nothing about who she is other than her picture. The 4 of us were chosen because we love her, but we don't even know who we are yet. One at a time, we're going to draw questions and we're going to slowly answer it. So I'm going to draw the first one. What do you do for the queen that anyone else could, and why does she make you do it? I think I am in charge of getting her dressed. And I think anybody in her court could do that. But I think she has me do it. And I think it is because I have an incredible attention to detail. She has a belief that how she presents is key to her being loved and worshiped the way that she feels she deserves to be. And so she's very particular. I am not the first one that has had this duty. Several have tried before me, but I'm the one that has been the person responsible for this for a long time. So now any of the 3 of you can ask me follow-ups, or we can just go to Z. It's up to you.
So were you chosen out of were you picked from a variety of candidates, or because you said there were several that came before you?
I was not the first choice. So if I remember correctly, she had somebody that she had in the court that was specific for this job. It wasn't really clear to me why there was a falling out. But she then went through several other candidates. What me doing this is not part of why I was already in the court. So this has become like my second job in the court. And for whatever reason, I guess again, she's mentioned it before. It's my attention to detail. She likes my choices. She even allows me to veto things. So there'll be times where she'll have something she wants to wear, and I will say no, my queen, you cannot wear that. And she believes me. I don't think there's a lot of people that she allows to contradict her.
What was the last thing you had to tell her she could not wear, and to where was she going?
So, and I understood why, Navi, she did this. It was a dress for a gala, and it was a private gala. So nobody in the kingdom would have seen her. It's not like it was a parade through the streets. This was private, very small guest list. But I felt it was too revealing. And she is one of the few women that rule in this realm. And I understood why she wanted to. And I just told her that it will potentially diminish her and make her stand out and present herself in a way that I don't think represents her. And she ended up reluctantly agreeing.
Do you enjoy the job, or is it more of a added burden?
It stresses me the fuck out. It does. It really stresses me because I am afraid that there's something that I would do inadvertent that would create a scandal. And there would be nobody to blame. You couldn't blame her because of my override that she allows me to do. Like I pick everything from her hair to her jewelry to her clothes. And so it's very stressful. I'm honored, but it's very stressful. All right. Time for Z's question. Z, you want to read that for us?
When was the last time the queen gave you a compliment? And why have her words stayed with you? I think that she has complimented my cooking at one point, and I think they stayed with me because the food usually has always been just never been complimented. This was the first time I had her actually directly compliment me. She came to the kitchen to shake my hand, or at the very least, let me know how much she enjoyed the dish.
Are you her head chef?
Yes, I am her head chef. I have a whole staff underneath of me, and it is a very stressful job.
Boy, we're establishing something, aren't we?
Yes. Yeah.
So Z, what was different then? If you were the head chef, you had served her many times before. What was unique, you think, about this particular meal that made her take that extraordinary step of acknowledging you?
I honestly don't remember. I honestly don't understand what I did differently, because I did everything exactly the same, exactly how she had specified it and how she wanted it. And I don't think that anything has been different. So this is another reason that stayed with me, because I don't quite understand why this particular time.
Craig, you ready for your card?
Sure.
All right.
Some would say the queen is not your queen. Why do you serve her anyway? I was taken in as a ward from a neighboring kingdom that she conquered, and I was saved by her soldiers. So I serve her simply because I wouldn't be alive if it weren't for her people.
What happened to that kingdom?
It was routed and basically absorbed, annexed into hers.
Do you ever encounter anybody else from the kingdom, or are you the one who
It
remains?
was yeah. I mean, it wasn't a. It's not like it was raised. It wasn't like just utterly destroyed. The population of that kingdom was given kind of the opportunity to bend the knee to her and to become her subjects. So yeah, I definitely do encounter people that used to be part of the rival kingdom.
You ready, Navi?
Yeah. The queen once offered you comfort. What about the memory of that will stay with you forever? That's an interesting question. I think it was a cold comfort is why it stayed with me. I think I was expecting her to be more sympathetic, and what I got was more of a, this is just what women do. So keep it together and do your job. Close your eyes and think of England.
Was that coldness more in line of what everybody else sees, or was that the oddity that surprised you, or was it just that you thought if she was ever going to be warm, it would be at this moment?
I think that she's coddled me my entire life, so I was expecting her to be very on my side.
See, I see a question forming.
I'm wondering, what exactly did she comfort you, gave you cold comfort for? What was the event that caused
it was
this?
an undesirable marriage to someone else within the court. So it was for political reasons.
I need to know more about that undesirable person.
I think it's one of the ministers of her cabinet, probably about 20 years my senior, and probably has a host of other wives, but needed a new politically, a wife that will give him more political power. So she's moving in, and not only is she moving in as a wife of someone she doesn't want to be married to, but she also inherits this older harem that she's not interested in, and she's looking to the queen like, could no, and the answer was yes.
Did you, when you say she said this is a thing that women do, did she say this, you think, out of personal experience or really?
Absolutely. I
Oh,
don't
okay.
think that she and the no longer with us emperor there's no love lost there. I think that that's why she's so cold and stern in this regard. This is just something that has to be done.
Are you resentful of that?
I am not resentful because I understand that that's how you gain more power. That's how you play the game from that particular angle. But I am resentful that behind closed doors it wasn't a softer touch.
Did you love that person? The one that you had to break it off with, from what I understand, that cabinet member?
The cabinet member is the one that I had to marry.
Oh, you had to marry. Sorry. Well, are you resentful?
Very, because there is someone else that she loves in the court.
Okay.
This one's for me. When was the last time you had the queen's undivided attention? And do you hope to have it again? It was a private moment. We were getting dressed. And she turned to me, and this was very unexpected. So though I'm trusted with a lot, I've never been an advisor when it comes to politics and the machinations of ruling. She turned to me, and it was just the two of us, and she asked me. She said, "Craig, do you think we should go on this journey?" And I said, "I think it's our only chance." It's very possible she had already made the decision at that point. And maybe she was curious to know if I was aligned with her, because I hadn't been, at that point, I had not been invited, right? But she invited me soon after that. Or was I the last straw, or the weight that tilted things? I honestly don't know. Do I hope to have it again? I always hope to have her attention. I am very fond of her. But I'm also very respectful of my station compared to hers. So do I hope to have it again? Yes, but it doesn't have to be in this way. Any way I can have her attention, it makes me happier.
Why were you convinced that this was the right thing for her to do?
Unfortunately, I don't think we have a choice. For us to be going on this journey, one, it's pretty dangerous. If the five of us survive, that will be a surprise. If all five of us make it there, I think that would be unexpected. And I don't feel like she has the upper hand in the negotiations that are coming. But if she does not try to negotiate for peace at this point, I think what she did to Craig's kingdom will happen to us.
Do you think you earned her trust?
That keeps me up at night, Z. I don't know. Because again, I couldn't tell, right? Was she asking me this because she trusts me and she wanted to know? Was she testing me to see if I deserve to go on this journey with her? Was she playing with me? Because she's been playful in a not nice way with me before, but not just me. She does it with others. So I don't know the answer to that.
So did you give her the answer she wanted, or did you give her the answer she needed?
I gave her the answer that I believed, and she followed that answer. But whether it was following my advice or I was just confirming a decision she'd already made, I don't know. All right. This is yours, Z.
Wonderful. What is the most difficult part of this journey? What makes you so adept at overcoming it? The most difficult part of this journey, for me at least, is going to take care of the logistics, because I think this is a very physical journey actually that we're undertaking, and I think there's a lot of logistics involved, especially to make sure that everything is up to her standards. And what makes me so adept at overcoming it, I think it's just the years and years of ultimate, like, stressful service that I've mastered so far, and every challenge I have overcome and seen her overcome as well, that makes me think that despite this being very perilous, I think we're going to do it. We've done it before, we will again.
What was the most difficult thing that you had to plan in advance?
The most difficult for this journey, or in general, you think?
For the journey.
For this journey, I think there are people. There's people that I need to take into consideration when I'm planning, that make this very difficult for me, because they seem to have high standards just for the sake of having high standards, rather than actual needs. And it seems to be like almost a power play of sorts to make these demands, and I have to fulfill them because that is my job.
This is yours, Craig.
Okay. When did you know you were in love with the Queen? So she invited all of the surviving members of the population. There was one day where she basically said, "This is an open audience. You can come. You can swear fealty to me. You can say, to heck with you. I'm packing my bags and I'm leaving. I'm swearing fealty, but this is what I need. Our house was destroyed, et cetera, et cetera." And I went to this audience to tell her specifically that she saved my life, and she offered me an opportunity to work in her service. And that basically was she gave me a job. Oh, wow. Yeah, that was the moment.
She gave it to you directly, like in person, or
Yes.
was it? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Had you seen her
Like
before?
my story,
Oh,
my story of how I survived, and I survived as a result of her soldiers protecting me, moved her, and she heard sincerity in my voice, and she heard a willingness to serve, and she said, "If this is how strongly you feel, then here's the opportunity to demonstrate it."
Is this a maternal love, or is it a romantic love, Craig?
Oh, from the Queen,
From you?
Oh, from me? No, it's romantic. It's
Yeah.
100% romantic.
Yeah.
But from her, it's maternal.
Right.
And he doesn't really see he's kind of he's awash with the heady sensation of infatuation, and he can't really tell the difference.
Yeah. Yeah. Are you young?
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. This is yours, Navi.
The Queen once expressed this desire you knew you couldn't fulfill. What have you done about it? That's, oh goodness. I think I'm gonna lean into court politics. I think she needed me to relay information, and it would have put me in a very uncomfortable position. And I chose not to. as much as I love her, I chose to withhold the information that she needed because I didn't want to be on the chopping block.
Was this about your husband?
Yes, I think that there was some politicking going on behind the scenes. She's concerned about being dethroned, like being intentionally replaced. There's a lot of intrigue behind closed doors, and I'm kind of caught in the middle of all of that. And I haven't done what I should have done about it. Instead, I have been avoiding the entire situation.
All right, this is mine. What brings out the queen's cruelty? Tradition. Her father, and then subsequently her husband, just drilled into her tradition, societal norms. This is what a queen does. This is what an emperor does. I guess I would make her an empress. I don't know. Whatever. Weird one. And she is the first, and it was very controversial when her husband died and she was crowned queen. It was very controversial. This has been a man's world, and this is the first kingdom ruled by a woman. And she, I think, overcorrects as a result. So this is how things are done. This is how things have always been done, except for this one piece, right? Everything else is by the book. It is always done this way. And at times it can be cruel. And I think a good example is ignoring Navi's plea to be betrothed. We all knew, and we knew how close her and Navi were. We knew that this was awful, that the queen knew the love that Navi had, and she knew what she was doing, but it was calculated, and it was just, this is how things are done. I think that's where her cruelty comes out, and I feel like it's an overcorrection by the fact that her existing as a ruler is so unprecedented.
When was the last time she scared you, or has she ever scared you?
Yeah, she scares me a lot. I know, because I've had so many private moments with her, that she is actually a very loving person, and she's and a very generous person. But her generosity, she gives out through parties, right? Through she doesn't want it to be directly seen from her. She's got it in her head that if she is seen as weak or soft, that it will undermine her as a ruler. So when I know when I can hear her father's voice coming out of her mouth, that's the worst. And that's what scares me, because she's better than him. And when I can hear her husband's voice come through her mouth, saying words he would have said, it scares me, because I know she's better than that too. And she has a rare opportunity here to change how things are done. And she just doesn't have the courage, I think, to take it. But that it's easy for me to say, right? It's easy for me to say you should be braver, because I don't have to do it.
Given that you need to pay attention to norms and what she needs to appear as, did you agree with her sticking to the traditions in those cases where she is cruel despite following them?
I think agree is a strong word, Z. I think I understand it, right?
Mm.
So I understand why she is doing it, and I can't say that she's wrong. I also recognize how easy my opinion can be formed, because I don't understand the pressure. I don't understand the stakes that are involved here. Like I said, I'm not very involved in the politics. I'm not very involved in the what's happening within the court. And the fact that there's talk that Navi's husband is undermining her at times, behind closed doors. I'm just not involved in that thing. So I recognize that a lot of this is above my head. So I wish she would be better, but I understand why she's not.
When she is cruel, though, and since you're close to her, do you get a feeling that she either enjoys the cruelty or is suffering having to be cruel?
I wish I was close enough to her to know the answer to that question. She has never revealed either to me. I have never gotten a hint that she is enjoying this or that she regrets it. I wish we were closer. I wish I could answer that. Z.
Mm-hmm. You once saved the queen's life. How? So, one time, what happened was that it was a very busy night. There was a huge gala, a huge feast, and there were so many people. It was incredibly hectic. And for whatever reason, I just had this feeling that something with one of her dishes just was not right. Something just it might have been just the tiniest bit of consistency or how something was placed. And I had I had it redone, and as it turned out, it was actually poisoned. It was actually an attempt at her life. I have no idea. Maybe the assassin changed something, but I just noticed it. And yeah, that's how I saved her life.
So it sounds like it was your attention to detail
Oh yeah.
put you in this position, and also your attention to detail saved your life.
Oh yeah, I think that is it. It's just so ingrained how she likes her dish and how she likes the presentation every time. As I said, every time exactly the same. That this time something wasn't right, and I knew it wasn't one of my chefs because I drill into them every single meal how perfect things need to be, and everything goes by me. I look at it before I send it out, and that one, none of my chefs would have made that mistake because I know them. So I knew something was wrong.
Did you figure out, what, I guess one question is what tipped you off? And my second question is that whoever was in fact responsible, did you figure out how they insinuated themselves into your staff?
Ooh.
So that was like a lengthy affair afterwards, because once it became clear that there was an attempt, we all were under intense scrutiny. And I vouched for every single one of my chefs. I know these people for years. So I think what happened was that somebody had snuck in and poisoned her dish. Just that was not part of the staff, maybe wait staff, but it was none of my chefs, and I vouched for this. And I was never informed whether or not they caught somebody, but all my chefs, she trusted me on this, and nothing has ever happened since, because she knows that I will catch it. Whatever it is, I will catch it.
Sure. So she has that level of confidence in you.
Oh, absolutely. No doubt. No doubt. And I know that she has.
This is yours, Craig.
What promise did the Queen make to you before this journey? Do you think she'll keep it? She promised me that whatever happens at the end of this journey and in the result of this, the mission basically to go to this faraway land and to strike an agreement with a lord or a king from this faraway land. She assured me that my place in her court will never be up for grabs, or there will never be a chance. Basically, she has promised me a position for as long as she's alive. And do I think she'll keep it? Yes. I mean, part of that is the infatuation, but at the same time, it's also he's pretty confident that when she makes proclamations like that, that they aren't flippant.
Do you think when she do you think when she made that, proclamation that maybe she did it because who knows, maybe she notices you have feelings, maybe those are mutual and she can't show those but wants to let you know in some form or fashion?
Wow. Yeah. I mean, is there a outside chance? I mean, he lives life in the kingdom with kind of rose-colored glasses on because he thinks that there's just about anything. If only he could get her to notice him. And when she does this, he's all aflutter. So does he think that might be? Yeah, maybe. I was thinking, or I was going kind of under the impression that she's not married. And
Then she's not.
right. And so she has no commitments to a partner. And so maybe, is this how things are done in this kingdom? Maybe this is a way for me to, I don't even have to shoot my shot. This is me having my shot for me.
What would it do to you to find out that she made that same promise to one of us?
Oh God, it would utterly destroy him.
Yeah. All right. Miss Nabby.
In your eyes, what makes the queen ugly? I think it's the aforementioned cruelty. The way that she has what she has had to become in order to rule, in order to carve out this place as a woman in a man's world. She has become just brutal. I think that to the point of overreacting in moments where leniency would be warranted, she gives none.
Yeah.
How does that make you feel about her?
I think it makes me feel sad, like for her, sympathetic to her problem. I think that it feels like she's becoming a monster, but she has to.
Do you wish you could change something about that? Do you wish you could influence her?
I don't think so. I think that this is the way that it is. This is how things are done, and this is who she has to be in order to do what she's doing. And to tell her, well, why don't you just put it down and not do this? Why don't you just not do the most important, thing in the world? That would be strange or selfish.
Fair.
Hey, Craig, before can we take a break?
Yeah, sure. All right, we'll take a quick 10-minute break. We'll be right back.
Cool. Thanks.
All right, so huge cliffhanger. It's my card. The queen once had you punished. What about the memory of that will stay with you forever? I was surprised on many levels when this happened, because I think there was many people in the court that thought I should be executed. And not only was I not executed, I was punished, but I wasn't executed. I was allowed to stay in the court. And I think it's because of how much she has struggled with her decision to not save Nabby. And I think it's an extension of that guilt. So I gave Nabby a name of a friend. And that friend was somebody who had the ability to solve her husband problem. Navi smartly did not follow it or take advantage of it, but it was discovered. I don't think Navi told the queen, but she could have. I don't think she would though, but I don't know. And I thought for sure I was done. But she kept a very small circle of who knew what happened and a very smaller circle of who was responsible, me. And it was pretty violent punishment, but I was brought back and we have never spoken about it since.
Did she
Has there
start-
been any change in
go
your duties or responsibilities, or she just acted like nothing happened?
It's so bizarre, Craig, because I think if you ask me about this 10 years from now, I might doubt that it really happened. I might doubt that it's not just this weird memory of mine, right? Because nothing has changed. My station, how she treats me, and I think that reflects more on Navi than it reflects on me.
When you say violent, though, do you have scars that to remind you?
I do, and not just the ones on my back that I never have to witness. Most of my unexposed flesh has been scarred. So,
Yikes.
I always wear long sleeves. I always have tight to the neck. And that's why, because if otherwise you would see what was done to me.
Has that strained our relationship? Do you suspect that I snitched?
There's a part of me, Navi, that wonders. But I think we're family. I think we're brother and sister. How do you feel about that? I don't think that I don't think that I'm capable of believing you would do that.
Hmm.
But I can't tell you that I'm 100% sure. Right? I think I'm 99% sure. And seeing what was done to you, seeing you having to navigate that, has been rough. It's been rough. And I will say that if I could go back in time, I wouldn't have done it. So I do regret it.
Did you deserve it? The amount of punishment?
Oh, I
Or
deserved
was-
much more. See, right? If it got out that I had defied her in that way and not lost my station, it could be devastating to her
Yeah,
and her authority.
that's the outside view in, but did you think you deserved it just in a direct relationship with her?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah. Didn't mean I enjoyed it.
Is
Felt
that part of
bad
the
about it?
reason why she has? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No,
you.
I wanted to know, like, do you feel bad that you did it, or would
Yes.
you do it again if you didn't get caught?
Nope.
Okay.
No, it was me getting involved in stuff I don't understand. We're coming back to that, right? I don't understand this. I don't understand how important it is that Navi took him as a husband. And I don't understand the implications. Like, had she followed what I had advised her to do and gave her the opportunity to do, I don't understand what the ramifications would have been. Luckily, my sister does, right? So even though she may have wanted to kill him, she's much smarter than me, and she understands that would make things even worse.
Do you think it was reacted that strongly because of the assassination of her husband that had happened prior?
You know what? I don't know that. I don't think I know the answer to that, Z. I think, yeah, I come back to the fact that I think I was underpunished, right? So I see it almost as this bizarre. Trust me, if I were to take my shirt off right now and you'd show you what has been happened to me, it's grotesque. It is grotesque, but I still feel like not only should I not be alive, but the fact that I am still trusted, the fact that she asked me the question about the journey, kind of blows my mind. I feel underpunished, believe it or not.
Do you dream about it? Like, remember? Like, is it something that creeps back to you in your nightmares?
It doesn't, Z, but it has made me. I definitely have PTSD, right? I'm definitely very skittish. I think if anything, I'm reminded of it when I see violence in the court, when I see somebody brought in front of her and punished, even though my punishment was not in front of her. I have a very hard time with it. Very, very hard time with it.
I don't know if this is now a question for another player, but like, how did your sister react when she found out? Because
I
you
think we
got
should
punished.
Save that. Let's
Yeah.
save that.
Okay.
Yeah, let's save that because that's really a question for her, not for me. But
Absolutely.
I'm smoking what you're growing, though, Z. Craig, did you have a question?
Yes, was it your decision to cover up all the scars, or was it did you kind of put two and two together that she doesn't want anybody outside of a certain circle to know what happened to you, or was that entirely your decision?
That's a damn good question. I think I'm lucky, Craig, in that me actively, even though in my mind I'm actively staying covered, luckily what I wear anyway would cover me, right? So it's not, I'm lucky that I don't have to proclaim that decision. But if pressed, Craig, I think I would cover it more in protection of her and to hide her decision. All right, Z.
When was the last time the queen criticized you, and why have her words stayed with you? Good question. I think very early on in my career, I think she complained about one of the dishes. And it wasn't a big thing. It was, any other person would consider it a minor little mistake. Why even bring it up, even if you are the queen? But I think just the way she said it made me feel like an absolute failure, like an utter disappointment. And I doubted myself for weeks and months to come. And I think only after a year, two of absolute immaculate performance do I now slowly have the feeling that I might be up to snuff, so to speak.
But it sounds like it haunts you.
I am very nervous every single dish that goes out to her. I'm still, while I'm not dreaming about that moment, every dish I send out, I hear an echo of her, not loud or, aggressive voice, but just of that like disappointment, just that undertone of utter disappointment that just every dish that goes out, I hear it. Every dish that goes out to her, I hear it. And that is what keeps me so focused and so particular about every little thing.
Well, it sounds like it saved her life.
Yeah, and I think this is probably the moment. That is probably the moment where I started feeling that I'm doing the right thing. And I have also not heard a single complaint or any disappointment in her voice. And I think while she didn't thank me for catching the assassin, a year down the line, she thanked me for a way that I had prepared a dish and said I did a particularly good job. Because I don't think she's the person that would thank somebody like prompted. She would just do it on her own accord. Like she thanks somebody when she thinks it's time to do that.
Yep.
And I knew this was related. It was not that dish, but I can't be sure.
Was it an overreaction on your part, or was it something like it was just a matter of personal taste where she thought maybe there was too much salt in the dish, or was it like you included shellfish and she's allergic? Like,
No.
How egregious was this?
It was I was not the assassin, as it turns out. Anyway, no, it was really a minor thing. I think it was just some way a certain food item, like how the rice was like put out. It's usually a little mound, and maybe the mound had crumbled a little bit, and it was just. I don't even think I missed it really. It had just crumbled on the way, so it was not packed, cooked quite right, and I missed it. So it was really the most minor thing. And I wonder if maybe she just is expecting just the absolute perfection, or if she was just wanted to warn me to not actually make a mistake.
All right, one for Craig. Ooh.
The queen
I
sometimes
see.
shows interest in your personal life. How do you respond to that, and why? Oh boy. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. The vapors. Where's my fainting couch? I am an artistic person, and so I draw, I sketch, I paint. I keep a sketchbook and sticks of charcoal with me, and the job that she gave me was to be in her courier service. And so she saw me sketching, I don't know, a courtyard in the palace one day, and she took an interest in that. And as soon as she expressed that interest, he's like, "Do you want to see the other things I've sketched? Because there's more." And he just went down the info dump rabbit hole of these are this is the koi pond that I from 3 months ago, and this is the one tree where the leaves, I can almost track how long it takes for the leaves to completely fall off the tree. Yeah, he was just completely over the moon.
She's like, it's quarter after, I gotta go. Oh, I believe all of that. That's really good.
Draw me like one of your French queens.
We're not that far yet.
Any young person who's been in love just knows that that feeling of like, now I'm gonna just dump.
Yep.
So you're drawing a lot, is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Like that's a hobby.
Yeah.
How many times have you drawn her, and did you show her?
Oh, I think he's probably drawn her once. And I think that he tore the page out of the sketchbook, folded it up, and like pinned it in the back of the back of the cover or something like that, because he might actually die. Like he might actually just cease to exist if she ever saw, or if word got back to her, if somebody looked over his shoulder, somebody was not a fan of his and wanted to knock him down a peg or two, to get the word back to her that there's this agent in your service that he watches you, and
Yeah.
I mean that could be bad.
Aren't you sure she wouldn't appreciate seeing this if nobody else would see it and you had an opportunity? You think you would want to show her?
No, not yet. There's just it's still early and it's still tenuous, and it's not the right time.
Was other Craig with her when you showed her? Like, basically a little bit like a watchdog to make sure everything is proper.
Does Craig, your attendant, your valet, does he she, whatever, what are they? He.
Yeah.
So does he?
I'll let you decide. I'll let you decide.
Does he go?
Am I
Does
always
he
by
go
her
around
side?
with her? Does he just suggest that she, he just lays out her clothes in the morning and then she goes about her business, or does?
I'll let you decide.
Okay. Then I would say no to Z's question, only because that's not like it's that
Hmm.
it's that level of distance between the two of them that Craig's valet does not kind of go with her about her daily business.
Mm-hmm. This is for you, Navi. Oh,
The queen has a pet name for you. Do you appreciate it?
Love it.
Yeah, I think she calls her something like kitten or something to that. So something very childish and sort of diminutive. And it was cute when she was young, or it was cute when I was young, but it gets less and less cute as I'm trying to grow my own authority in the court. And it seems like it has an edge when she says it now, like she's trying to remind me of my place.
That was going to be my question. Do you think she does it purposefully to maintain your stature?
I think she does.
Yeah. Do you threaten her? Do you think?
I think that I threaten her in the way that anyone in the court with power threatens her, because I was intentionally placed as a political marriage to make sure that she keeps that minister under her, control.
Right.
So if I am not actively participating in that, then I am also a problem. I could also be working against her. So there's always the little bit of like, you want to be family, you want to be close, but you can't trust anyone. There's paranoia.
Did you
Are
think?
you?
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. Z.
Okay. Did the tone change after the incident with Father Craig?
I think it did a bit. It's not that it was a switch from day to night, but I think it became more exacerbated because when that happened, I went and knelt in front of she refused to see me because she knew what I was going to say. So I went and knelt in front of her room for like 3 days. And it wasn't until I collapsed and my husband had to come collect me and then convince her to lighten the sentence that whole. So at that point, she felt like maybe I was going against her, and I was again using that threat of the minister to do that, even though on his part it was actually an attempt to be thoughtful. You can't don't murder my brother-in-law, right? So it wasn't even on his part. It was. We all knew, I think, that it was going to be perceived very poorly, but it was a matter of family.
Does your brother know that you camped out for 3 days in front of her room and did all of those things to try to lighten the sentence?
I don't think so, because it wasn't important. It wasn't something that I felt like I had to say.
I don't think I know either, so I'm glad you said that. Yeah.
Navi, are you related by blood and by extension Craig's character to the Queen?
Yes.
Is that something that's kind of hush hush, or is that something that is very, openly talked about?
It's very openly talked about and known. I think that we are her like niece and nephew. So from a brother who should have had her seat, but he passed young during campaigning during a war, serving as a general. So he's no longer there, and it's just by chance. So we've been raised in the court, and I've been raised at her side. She doesn't have any children of her own, so we are almost perceived as a direct threat.
Love that. Oh my God, I love that so much.
Do you remember her brother?
Only
our father?
vaguely. Yeah, right. Our father, right? Her brother, our father.
Is that what you mean, Z?
Yeah, why not? Like, do you remember your father / her brother?
I think, and Craig's gonna have to veto or 1+, but
I'll
I think that we remember him as being present in our youth.
Mm-hmm.
But he was always on the border. He was always away, and so he was only a memory of like coming in every once in a while, and then he was gone.
Do you miss him?
I don't think I can. I don't think I knew him well enough to miss him. I think I miss the idea of him because I think he is considered a hero and he's talked about very favorably, which adds to the the threat that we pose because of how heroic of a figure he cut. But that's not the figure that existed at home because there was no one at home.
What is something you do for the queen that has prepared you well for this journey? Oh, that's interesting. Navi and I were raised by our mother, even before Dad died. She still raised us, and she was a commoner. Our father was not. It was a bit scandalous, the marriage between our father and our mother, and she was, by all measures, a peasant, and as a result, I feel like she understood how far you can fall, how great our life is because of where we are. And I feel like she taught Navi and I how to be socially adept, how to read the room, how to say the right thing but nothing more, how to disagree without countering, how to be what that conversation needed at that moment. So I think Navi and I are both very good at this. Very good at one-on-one. I think Navi's better at me at the court intrigue, at the tactical and strategic level, but I am very good one-on-one in conversations. And I think that it's allowed me to have many allies within the court because I am a different person to each one of them. So I think that's prepared me well for this journey. And I think what I've been doing for the queen is I have been coaching her on this negotiation. So it's prepared me well for this journey. And I think it's prepared her well. I think if she succeeds in brokering this peace, it'll be because of what I have taught her.
What are you the most afraid of her doing or saying wrong? Or like what could be the worst thing to happen at the negotiation?
This frightens me because it will happen, and we have practiced this. But if this warlord in any way insinuates, because she is a woman, X, Y, or Z, she could lose it. She could react in a way that will sign away our thing, because we're coming into this negotiation at a point of weakness. If this warlord wanted to, he could take us all. He could take this kingdom. The fact that he hasn't is actually a bit of a mystery. That's my biggest fear, is that I hope he thinks a lot of her. I really do. Part of me hopes that he loves her. And that's why he's not done this, because I mean, it's been 2 years that we have been completely vulnerable. My father no longer leads any armies. And, you know, we are at any point without any kind of resistance. This warlord could have walked into our kingdom and taken it, but he hasn't. And I'm just hoping it's because of some sort of affection and affinity or respect for her. Because if he shows her disrespect, I don't trust her 100% to be able to negotiate the way I would, right? To let something like that fall off because it's of no use. And I hope she's very utilitarian in her self-control.
Is that a thing that has happened before, where she lost her self-control, even though she should have kept it?
Yes, but it's always been within tight circles, I think, Z. I think she's been very good about not doing it in court. But there have been people removed from court and removed from this planet as well because of that level of disrespect. Because they in some way insinuated that a woman should not be in this position. She'll handle criticism of her. She'll handle criticisms of her decision making. But if at any point you make it somehow a gender thing, then
Hmm.
good knowing you.
Is that why your dad doesn't lead war campaigns anymore and isn't around anymore?
I don't think so. I don't think
Hmm.
so. I think that she I think she has a strong affection for her brother and recognizes that he would be king. He would be emperor right now if he had still lived. I don't suspect in any way she had anything to do with his death. I think he died in battle bravely. All right, Z.
What brings out the queen's kindness? I think it shows in the way that she throws galas and large, lavish dinners. I think she goes above and beyond, making sure that even maybe people that are way under her station, that are still part of this whole thing, get treated as well in terms of service and food as maybe the highest ranking member of the cabinet. Much to the annoyance of said high ranking members, because and it's odd because for me this seems to be the only time I witness her kindness. It's odd because I'm not quite sure, is it genuine kindness or is it defiance? That is the thing that I'm not 100% sure of. Does she do this because it annoys people
It
and she
pisses the
wants
right
to
people off.
and wants to put them in their place, or
Yeah.
because she just inherently doesn't believe in those hierarchies as strongly as she should as a queen, and she should be reinforcing them?
Do the common people love her? Do they favor her? Do they think that she's a benevolent queen?
No, they don't think
Mm.
she's benevolent. They think she's fair. They think she is maybe to a fault. She follows tradition and the law. So while they don't think she is unfair or cruel or unjust, they also don't consider her benevolent or loving. She puts up this facade, which is why I don't know if it's a facade as much, because then I see how she treats people of lower rank at these events, which doesn't quite jive with what I'm seeing
Yeah.
her project outwards to her followers.
This one's for you, Craig. Oh,
What do
this is
you-
interesting.
What do you usually do for the queen? Why does that make you an unlikely choice for this journey? So I was recruited into her courier service. So basically, I've been a messenger, delivering important documents and papers to members of cabinet, to nearby, marriage certificates, death certificates, land deeds, and things, and letters, all within the kingdom. So that would make me an unlikely choice for this journey, because this
You're a
journey has
townie.
a very specific, very specific mission.
Yeah.
We're going to see this warlord. Like, what is it? Why would he be chosen to come along? And I don't know. He keeps a list of all the good things that the queen, all the kind gestures and all those things, and he's like, wow, if this, this might be my chance. Like, if this, if she doesn't like marry him, then maybe maybe if there's a peace brokered and it doesn't involve her getting married, then maybe that's my shot, because otherwise I'm just an errand boy. Like, what else would she want me around for?
Can I make a suggestion?
Sure.
What if the warlord is from your fallen kingdom?
I
and
liked
thus
it.
thus you being picked is somewhat strategic because you are from the same traditions, the same everything that
Mhm.
this warlord is.
So maybe he was able to hold on to a piece of territory that when so she absorbed the majority of it, but maybe he held fast to his one keep,
Yeah.
and
Has now turned
so
it into
maybe
an empire. Yeah.
yeah, I mean maybe that, and that's what it is. It's kind of like the mob boss who rules from jail. Like
Right.
he's he's got all this influence and he's got all these people that trust him and will follow him into hell. And um, it's not an overt power because of the fact that he has so little territory. It's his influence that makes him so valuable.
That's super interesting.
Maybe that would be my suggestion, take it or leave it. What you usually also do for the queen, not directly, is her asking you questions about your culture, your previous life, so to speak, and maybe this is kind of a
could come
reason
an
she
advisor.
shows up with
Yeah.
you and like tries to be close with
And
you.
then that's the thing that would just go completely over his head. Like,
Right.
Oh, okay.
yeah, I mean, yeah, yes, she would, but he wouldn't get it at all. He would just
A
he's
young
just
boy
this
in
lovesick
love.
puppy dog. He's this lovesick puppy dog, and he's
Love
just
it.
like, she wants to know about my where I came from. She wants to know about my customs. Oh.
You don't even make the connection. Love that. Oh, it's so good. All right, this is for you, Navi.
How can people tell just by looking at you that you serve the queen? Do you mind being so obvious? I think that being obvious is actually part of my station. I'm supposed to be obvious. I think that I walk around wearing, I don't want to reflect poorly upon my aunt, of course, and I have to look the part. So always fully dressed. Not to outshine the queen, of course, but to make sure that everyone else at the court doesn't look as polished, right? So she probably has I have like 15 pounds of like jewels sticking out of my head and just the whole 9 yards. Very uncomfortable, very heavy, neck hurts, because that's necessary. It's necessary to show your station at all times.
You were once summoned to a private meeting with the queen. Why did you feel disappointed afterward? I'm going to beat this dead horse.
Go, do it.
When the minister had built up enough power to potentially form a coup that could potentially be successful. He had years and years and years, a decade even, had built up a second court, a secret shadow court. And he blatantly said to my queen, either I am going to take over or you give me your niece. Before she decided, she brought me in. And I tried to explain to her that if he had that much power, he would have taken over the court, he would have taken over the kingdom, and still gotten Navi. So the fact that he was negotiating with her was a sign of weakness, that he did not have this power. And my advice to her was to hang him in the streets as a traitor. And when I left that meeting, I was fully under the impression that she was following my advice, which she does every morning when we get ready for the day. And it was a day later that the marriage was announced. And I realized that she didn't trust me. And to this day, I am sure that I was right. I am sure that this was all smoke and mirrors, that he did not have this power. And my sister paid the price. And I think that that man, my brother-in-law, for crying out loud, should not be breathing air.
Do you resent her for that? The queen?
I resent her for being weak. I think it
Hmm.
was her being weak. So yeah, I do, but not resent her for not following my advice, because to be honest with you, my advice seems so obvious to me.
Mm.
And because I'm not involved at the levels of politics that my sister is, I understand why she didn't. I think if Navi had told her that, she would have believed it. Because she trusts Navi at that level. She doesn't trust me at the level that I was. I was a AAA ball player playing major leagues when I gave her that advice. So I understand why she didn't follow it, but I do resent her for not being bolder in a lot of things, including that. And I really hate that my sister paid that price.
Do you think you're the only person she asked for advice, or?
Oh God, no. No, she's got a whole advisory staff, and she's got like the official ministers. One of them being my brother-in-law, that asshole. But she also has kind of her unofficial court. And my sister is a part of that. As are other women in my brother-in-law's harem. And I think she puts more weight on that secret advisory circle than she does the official one. But no, yeah, I don't know. And I don't think, I don't know. I think part of me is actually a little disappointed in Navi for not seeing that. Or if she did see it, not saying something. Because for me, it was just, I'm just a rube, and even I saw, like, no, like if he has this power, he'll just take this over. He'll take everything and get my sister. So why is he giving you this choice? This is for you, Z.
Who's this distant power you're traveling to, and why do they make you uneasy? Well, I think we have established it's the warlord that has been threatening to, not even threatening really, we know he has the power to take over this kingdom. And we're all uneasy. So I'm worried. None of the staff, none of us, not me, not the queen, not all my chefs, we're not gonna make it back. I have nightmares that I end up cooking for this monster, and that, while I might not get lots of compliments from the queen, I worry that this will be one of the worst experiences, and I might not even survive it.
Well done.
Which is
With
why he deserves
ketchup.
to die.
With ketchup, right? Anywho, yeah, I think this is what makes me uneasy. And
Yeah.
what also makes me uneasy is that we're not in a regulated environment. So my worry is that every dish now that goes out has a higher likelihood of being poisoned.
Ooh, right.
So every dish could be
Someone.
yes.
This is yours, Craig. Oh my goodness.
When was the last time the queen used you?
Phrasing.
Oh. I mean, I almost want to say, when is the last time she didn't use him? Because she knows that he will snap to as soon as she says, "Oh, I need you to do this." I'm going to turn it on its head and say, when is the last time that she hasn't used him? Like, She's caught on to the fact that he is infatuated. She's caught on to the fact that he will literally, like, if she says jump, he says how high.
Yeah.
And basically, he, and I mean, he does everything willingly and gladly anyway, but she has his number. And so she basically, I mean, she uses him to deliver, the don't shoot the messenger. Well, guess what? If one were to be mad enough to actually shoot the messenger, well, at least it's him.
Send Craig.
Yeah, exactly.
So, even though you're doing it willingly, has she ever asked you to do things that you have been uncomfortable with or felt bad about after?
Maybe initially, but he usually talks himself out of it. She wouldn't want me to get hurt. She wouldn't want me, she cares about me. So he almost gaslights himself.
Yep.
That anytime it's, well, we need you to deliver. And I mean, I'm sure that his role has grown. Like originally, yes, he was brought in as part of her courier service, but he is quite literally a gopher. He is oh, we need something done. Oh, we need someone to go somewhere. Oh yeah, Craig will do it. So has he had qualms? Yes, but he usually smashes them because he's just so obsessed.
Navi, this is yours. Oh, that is not the card I meant to draw. Wrong deck. You want to read a rule, Navi? Right. Ooh, this is an interesting question for you.
What do you do that pleases the queen on this journey? I think because she raised me pretty close to her side, I quite literally entertain her. So we play chess, and I play, the harp for her while we're in the carriage, and I'm just keeping her entertained and keeping her mind off of the journey the entire way. Anytime she looks uncomfortable, I can see it from a mile away, and I'll call for something medicinal to take the edge off of the bumpy road. So I'm at her beck and call, just amusing her and keeping her happy.
You're so attuned to her. Love that.
Do you use the chef for that in the sense that, do you call on me to ease her stresses?
Absolutely. Probably so many times a day that it starts to get annoying. The carriage window opens and it's we're going, bring the ginger soup, or bring the pear soup, or bring the desserts, or it's a constant flow of snacks and entertainment, and just nonstop.
Do I seem
I have a menu.
Do you seem annoyed? Can I tell? Do we have a good rapport?
Yeah, I would say since you are, I know that you're in charge of making sure that she's, well rested, or at least, well balanced. I would say we've been working a lot together to make sure that happens. So I know when you say it, sometimes you don't even need to say it, and I already know, yes, that, of course.
There's just significant glances that happen.
Oh yeah, you walk by the room and just say a word, and I immediately know.
The queen has asked for 3 breakfasts today. She must be especially famished.
This is for me. If you left or were dismissed from the queen's service, what life would you return to?
That's a great question.
That's a really hard question. And it's a really hard question that I think fits Craig H better. So I'm actually going to do something I don't do. I don't think it's the first time I've ever done it in For the Queen. I'm going to give this question to Craig because I think it fits you better.
I mean, there is no life for him to return to. He probably would be so devastated. he might hold it against her. He might be like, you made a mistake and I'm going to show you how. Yeah.
So it sounds like there wouldn't be that the life you return to would still center on her and some.
Oh yeah, I mean there is that's he has basically because his former life doesn't exist anymore.
Right.
There is both realistically, rationally nothing for him to return to, and he has centered his life around her, and he would at the very least he'd be like, you're making a terrible mistake. Like he would say the words, and at worst he would kind of try to seek revenge.
Mm-hmm. All right, so I'll take this one. What question do you wish you could ask the queen, and what keeps you from asking it? I only know my father through stories. And all the stories, even from our mother, was how great he was, how perfect he was. What a great ruler he would have been after his father. If his father would ever die, our father would have been crowned and would have done amazing work. But he's I don't know him any better than anybody else that reads the books and hears the stories, right? I don't know. I'm no closer to him than anybody else. I would never ask this of her. But I wish I could ask her whether she thinks she is doing a better job than my father would have. And the reason I would never ask her that is I know that's the question that plagues her. And she does not deserve to hear the question outside of anywhere but her own mind. Because I think it's the question that everybody asks. Is, did we get tier 2? Did we get leftovers? Did we get second best? And the reason I want to ask her that is because I think she would answer me honestly and would help me understand my father more, regardless of which way she answered it. Either way, I feel like I would understand him a little bit more. This is yours, Z.
What do you do for the queen that no one else could?
Don't
So
say
you-
cooking.
No. So I'm going to modify that question a little bit in the sense that it's been like burning. Like I've been like wanting like a question like this because I think that she can approach me for like it's not unusual for her to like approach me and say she wants a certain dish or she wants a certain something of that, and nobody questions it. She can just, nobody looks over her shoulder to ask what she asked the cook to eat, right? So she's a little bit it's almost like a private conversation to an extent, and I think she knows that as well. Like that's an understanding that we have, and I think one time she asked me if I could make her make a dinner for 2 for her and someone she wasn't quite willing to tell me about, and if I could just me do that secretly, and I would.
That's really good. Good answer. That's a really good answer. This is yours, Craig. God, you're getting the cards.
This is mine.
I think so,
Okay.
right? That was Z's last, yeah.
Okay. All right.
Oh no, no,
Uh,
no!
the-
You're right. It's not yours because we skip you because you took. You're right. This is Navi's, which makes it even more interesting.
Oh.
Thank you, Craig. I forgot that. I
Sure.
forgot that you answered the other question.
No problem.
The queen made you feel something you've never felt before. Do you want it to happen again? I'm going to also have to pass it though to Craig H because it was his. It was meant to be.
Yes. 100%.
I don't disagree with this at all.
Well, I mean, since we're talking about beating dead horses, I mean, she was his first love.
Sounds like
Like
only
he-
love.
Well, I mean, he never felt in his short amount of time. I suspect he's somewhere in his late teens, early 20s. He never felt what he feels about her for anyone else. And I mean, does he want it to happen again? I mean, he rides this very fine line between being emotionally devastated by his feelings and confirmed and affirmed by them. So does he want it to happen again? He is waiting for his golden opportunity to be like, I would lay down my life for you, because he wants to know if she feels the same.
Mm-hmm.
So does he want it to happen again? Yes.
What is the closest, or I'm going to rephrase this. What is the most rational hint that you've received from her? Rational being the key word here.
Mhm.
The most rational hint you've received that she might have feelings for you.
One of the days that she asks him to share his work, his sketchbook, she turns it into a picnic. She has a set of retainers come out, and a small group, maybe like a dozen or so, and they go through the courtyard, and there's all these elaborate topiaries, and I mean, he's working the entire time, but the simple fact that he was invited to this is the closest thing to him knowing. Yeah. Or to her demonstrating.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. All right. So this is yours, Navi. Ooh, I like this one.
The queen thinks more highly of you than you do of yourself. How do you know this? I think she heaps responsibilities on me that I don't want to deal with. I didn't ask for it. I don't want to engage in it. I think I am a shark by nature and by training, but it's not who I am. I would rather be reading a book in the corner, being left very much alone. So I think that she thinks that I am much more of a political animal than I do. And I think she really pushes me toward that end constantly.
What is in your little secret council, not the official court council, what was the best advice you gave her at one point that she followed?
I think I told her to keep Craig H as close to her as possible. I think it's the political animal. I saw how smitten he was, and I know that he would jump in front of an arrow for her. He'd take a sword for her, and I was like,
I just got chills.
Keep him at hand.
That's really good. He's so useful. Oh my God. That's so good. Oh, that's so good.
So before the next person,
please.
Quick question. So Navi doesn't have an official role. She doesn't have a cabinet position or anything along those lines. She's just the queen's niece, right?
I don't know.
I guess that's.
She probably had. I have like an honorary title, so I'm considered a princess of the court. But
Okay.
It is very much, as much as it is a political position, it's not one that actually comes with paperwork. It's really just being an ornament and knowing who to talk to and when to talk to them.
And to be married
Personal.
off.
Personal advisor kind of things.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead, Craig.
Yeah, I'm good.
Are you good?
Yeah.
This is mine. And I'm going to keep it. There's an easy pass here, and I'm not going to do it. You had a vivid dream about the queen. What about it surprised you? I wouldn't even tell my sister this. I don't think she's going to succeed. I just
So
don't.
that's the dream. That's the dream that you had, that she fails.
Nope. The dream is that she does.
Oh.
And that was the surprise. So I am not optimistic and have not been optimistic about this. And it's why it was such a tortured piece of advice that I gave her, because I was giving her the best, worst choice when I gave her advice. But deep in my heart, I just don't think we're going to succeed. And I don't think she is capable of this. But that's not, I don't think my dad would have been capable of this. Right. So it's not on her. We're in a bad spot. And I had an incredibly vivid dream about a third of the way into this trip where she was perfect. Absolutely perfect. And not only does she come out of this successful, but she ends up giving up nothing, because in my head, I think she's going to have to give herself up. I think her best bet here is to marry this warlord, combine these kingdoms, and they rule together. But in my dream, she outplays him and comes out keeping her kingdom. And I think we've kind of established, because I don't have nightmares about my torture, that I'm not a vivid dreamer, right? So the fact that this was so vivid, I'm now in the second half of our journey. I think we're going to pull this off. And I didn't believe that before.
Do you believe it now, though?
I do.
Okay.
I do, just because of how unique this dream was. I'm just, I don't have visions. I don't have, I'm not a seer. I'm not part of her, bone throwing advisors. Right. That's not what I do, but this was so vivid that I can tell you in a waking moment, every detail about this dream, every word she said, how it all played out.
Nice.
Z. Ooh.
I think I'd like to pass that on, but I'm torn between passing it on to. Does anybody want it? Is anybody like, oh, I have a good
I want
thing
you
for
to
that?
pick is what I want.
Okay. I'm gonna embarrass you. I'm gonna immediately bring it back to you, host Craig, because you have that punishment history.
Yeah. When was the last time the queen embarrassed me? I'm going to paint myself in a corner here on purpose. It's going to be on this trip. And I know what it is. It was on this trip. It was me, my sister, and her in the carriage. Z and Craig were in their separate carriages, right? In fact, I don't think Craig has a carriage. I think Craig,
Nope.
you're
I ride
up front.
horseback.
Yeah, you're on horseback, or maybe sitting up front with a driver somewhere, right? Z has a staff, right? So he's got his own little thing going behind us. It was just the three of us. And it's not important what she asked, but she asked a question. And I started to answer the question, and she shushed me. She said, "I'm talking to your sister."
Ooh. Ooh.
and
Ooh.
it was so bad. It hurt me so bad, especially because it happened in front of my big sister, who, I mean, I might love my queen, but impressing my big sister might be more important to me. And I had it in my head that I got a spammer. Give me just 1 second. I had it in my head that I was her advisor, right? That I had now reached a level of my sister, that I was part of that conversation. And without, it was so like I was a child. It was bad. It was bad.
That made me feel bad just hearing about it.
All right. So this is yours again, Z.
It's like on the level of like somebody waving at you, you wave back, and then you realize
Oh, God.
they don't
Nope.
mean you. It's like,
Oh.
oh.
Ruh-roh.
I think you have to keep this so we can learn more about our
Yeah.
shop,
Oh, that's rough. That changes the whole dynamic.
which is amazing. Can you read it for the
Yes, of course. The queen is responsible for the death of someone you loved. Who and what happened? Remember that assassination attempt?
I do.
Yeah, I think, as I said, nobody in my kitchen because I vouched for all of them. And there was an investigation that happened afterwards that I wasn't privy to. Just suddenly this, I'm going to say it was one of the maids. Maybe it came out, she's been found with money or some connection has been made. And I had been seeing her for, like quietly because, you don't do this, especially if you have a higher rank in this cabinet. And it was like a love affair. And so I never expressed outrage. I had to keep it bottled up, but she was hung. And
Oh, dang.
yeah, I think that has consequences for the way I will be looking at her dishes moving forward.
You think your love was innocent?
I don't
Or
know. I don't know, but I have no reason to believe that she did it. It made no sense to me that my love that this maid would have done it. It's not impossible, but again, it came as a surprise. I wasn't aware of the investigation. It's just like, I'm going to say like one day I woke up to go to the kitchen and I just see her hanging in the distance. And something broke in me, but I just keep on cooking.
Are you naive, Z? Because if she was the assassin and rightfully, does that bring doubt into the relationship the two of you had? Right? If she was the assassin, was she using you to gain access? So are you blind and seeing that she could have done it? Because if you say she was guilty, it would throw into doubt everything
I
you
don't
guys
think
had.
so. I think
Yeah.
I might be naive, but
Yep.
I don't believe that she would have done that because I know all the people I work with.
Yep.
And I think I believe that I'm a good judge of character. And I might not even be able to judge correctly because of my feelings for her. So maybe I'm naive, but
Well, you also run a very tight ship, right? And I would imagine that extends beyond just the kitchen.
I think the thing is, if she would have done this, I would have seen her on the floor. And I think I'm more outraged that it wasn't like an open investigation in the sense that, I was never asked. Nobody was ever asked. So I feel like she was just a scapegoat because somebody needed to die. Somebody needed to take the fall.
This is yours, Craig.
When was the last time the queen hurt you? I would think that it would be something along the lines of he's close to another one of those close moments, those moments that, you know, it's kind of the obverse of that picnic moment. So she's planning something. She can, it's a day when things are very busy, and I'm on the periphery of that, and I'm like, oh, I wonder what I'm going to get to do. And all the plans are made, and everything goes by, and everything happens, and I'm left with like, yep, I'm just here. I'm just the guy. And I'm like, she didn't ask me to do anything for her. She didn't ask me to help her. She didn't ask me to like carry out any, activities for her. Like, and that stung.
When it stung, was it, there's disappointment, but is it also, did it turn into even just a little bit anger?
Oh yeah. That's another. That's like the two axes that that are basically his personality. Like he walks that line of, the obsession and not really knowing what to do with his feelings. The feelings are very new, but then there's that other axis of like, is when it's clear that maybe it's not reciprocated, then is it is it anger? Definitely, yeah.
Did she do this because do you think she did this because she knows that you have feelings for her and she maybe punishes you for having those, or just wants to push you away? Like that?
No,
it's like
I think she
larger
does it
rejection.
No, I think she does it to kind of keep him in check.
Okay.
So to know his place, because okay, fine, you have feelings for him. You have feelings for me. That's great, but you're still one of my servants.
And Navi says you're useful.
Yeah.
This is yours, Navi.
When was the last time the queen was gentle with you? I mean, low-hanging fruit, but I think it's during this trip. We're very much away from court. Most of the pressing issues can't reach us. Anything that comes by, carrier pigeon, and like there's just not a lot of distraction. So I think that there's more of a glimmer of like a familial relationship as we're just chatting about things that move away from like conversations of the court and the things that are happening. And I think on her part, she is trying not to worry, trying not to think about what's coming. So she's intentionally looking for diversion. And I'm feeding into that because it's nice to also have that diversion.
To be treated like a niece and not a, yeah. So I get skipped because Z gave me a card. So this goes to you, Z. Ooh.
What did you bring with you to protect the queen? Huh. That is an excellent question.
Yeah.
What did I bring? What could I have brought to protect the queen?
May I make a suggestion?
Please do.
Your finest cutlery. Like
to literally we use as weapons, or
yeah.
I don't know if I would think that way as a cook. It's like, I'm going to bring the finest cutlery to then. I would think more like a butcher cleaver or something like this. Ooh. Like, yeah, I'll pack this thing in case anybody. But I don't. Here's the thing.
How can you protect the queen?
I don't even see. Ever since this happened, I have doubts whether or not I would protect the queen.
Right.
So maybe because maybe I, what's the word? Campaigned maybe for other Craig to
Advocated.
advocate. Thank you, to come on this trip as well, and to maybe. It's really difficult for me, like what I would do to protect her, because I don't even know if I would protect her.
I love how everybody like advocates for me, like, and just moves me around the board, and I'm just completely clueless.
You're the doe-eyed anime boy.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's hard not to. So here's a thought I have, C.
Yeah, please.
Which is, would you bring poison to poison the warlord?
Ooh.
Yes. Yes. 100%. 100%. But
Right.
we'll have to see how that plays
Exactly.
out. Yes, I brought poison. Yes,
Yep.
I'm bringing poison. And I'm not getting checked because nobody looks at my spices. I have my private spice collection, and within those, a little vial.
Yep. All right, this is yours, Craig.
The queen ordered you to do something you knew you would regret. Have you forgiven yourself for doing it?
Regret is a big word here.
Regret's a big word.
Yeah.
I think that she is the one that made the overture to the warlord. Hey, why don't we come up with some sort of an alliance? And simply putting himself, and not only did she draft, she made the gesture forward. She asked me to deliver it. Because hey, he used to be your lord, he's one of your culture, you know, you can say something. But the warlord is so you know, he's kind of being held hostage where he is, but he still has this tremendous amount of influence, and he could very easily, the warlord could basically respond with my head.
Right. Send the message back, right?
Yeah. So the message back is yeah, no thanks. And by the way, you shouldn't have even done this, and this is how I'm showing you. So she ordered me to deliver the offer, and I knew that I might regret it. But his reaction to his favorable reaction made it so that he didn't wind up needing to forgive himself.
Why didn't he just cut off your head? Does it tie into whether you should forgive yourself or not? Did you give him anything more than just the message that was on the paper?
Oh, he probably gushed.
Yeah.
He probably told her how yeah, I know that she came into our lands, and I know that she demonstrated her superiority, but she spared me. Her soldiers spared me. That she made me a ward of her palace and of her court, and maybe that's what he regrets. He regrets
tipping her hand as much as she did. Yeah. Have you forgiven yourself?
Probably not. But he doesn't necessarily think that it's going to make a big difference.
Mm-hmm.
So he's like, it's one of those, like dumb boneheaded moves, but he doesn't really see any far-reaching ramifications.
Yep.
It's like, oh man, I really should have kept my mouth shut. Yeah, whatever, no big deal.
This
Oh
is
yeah,
yours.
here we go.
Oh, here we are.
Oh goodness, the queen
And
is
you get to
under
start,
attack.
Navi.
Do you defend her? Ostensibly, I kind of defend her.
What a terrible answer.
It's yes or no.
Do you
Okay.
defend her, Navi?
Yes. Do you want me to elaborate? I will
Of
elaborate.
course.
So I think this ties into my resenting being put in a position of continuous political power and being used as a shark. I think that's exactly what happens. I've been playing 3D chess and I've worked out every angle possible to lay out why it would be a better situation for the warlord to let us skate in favor of us turning on other allies and showing where we have advantages in key areas. And like under the terms, it's her continuing to live, but I do advocate that she be removed from the throne in favor of a choice of mine.
So in turn order, I'm next. And I think she does something that makes me change my decision. I think when the scene starts, I think one way, and when the scene ends, I think another. Me realizing that I was not that important to her was a little bit life-altering for me on this trip. And that resentment was so fresh when we were in that warlord's hut. And I was ambivalent of what would happen. That's how much I was embarrassed and burned by her, by my queen. And then the warlord said, I will not touch your lands, but she stays here. And he pointed at Navi.
Oh.
And my queen said, then try to take my lands, because all of us are leaving. And unlike before, with the minister, I saw my queen defend my sister. So when swords were drawn and my queen was under attack, I did defend her. Because then I thought she was bold. Then I thought she was brave. Then she was what I always thought she was. And unlike before, she defended my sister and did not offer my sister up as yet another token to maintain power. So yes, I do defend her. Z?
So I'm trying to imagine roughly how things went down, but I like to say, not like every attack, whatever it might be, has preparations and signs, like giveaways that it's about to happen. And I think that since, it was not just our staff, not just my staff working there were other people. And I think that since I have a keen eye, I saw that maybe one of the wait staff of his had a weapon he shouldn't have. I saw that. And while I usually would have said something, I think in that moment, I just remembered just seeing her hang.
Mm-hmm.
I just didn't say anything.
Craig?
So I would defend her. Short version, really no question. However, when I delivered the queen's offer to him, he tried to sway me to his side.
Mm-hmm.
He tried to paint this picture that, you were no one special. She just grabbed anybody that she could that was still alive And this was a long, she was playing the long game. She wanted to take me down, and how, are you going to take her side over mine? Like, we're countrymen. We're one step removed from family, and I mean, I think so going back to the question about regret, is he regrets thinking about it
Mm,
and even taking a
considering it.
moment to say, oh wow, I mean, he could be right. But when push comes to shove, I mean, despite everything in his heart and his mind about the queen being so complicated, he knows that backing her is the right move.
We're going to go to credits and we're going to talk about the game on the other side. Don't go away. People are going to get tired of me gushing about this game, but it just every time I think about where we started and where we finished 2 minutes ago with a picture and 4 people. And by the end, I can't get over how invested I am in the 3 of you, in my character. And one thing I love that we did, and I think we just all instinctively did it, I don't know, but I love that we didn't resolve the conflict. We did not say, nobody said what happened. And I kind of freaking love that too, that we don't know if she was successful or not, because that doesn't matter. What matters is that last question, which is, did we defend her? So very quick, and we're going to go around the horn, but very quick for me. Craig, I believed your choices from beginning to end. It's the first time we've had a chance to really play together, and you just did a wonderful job of just building and building and building. So hats off. I've played with Navi and Z before, but you knocked it out of the park, brother. You knocked it out of the park. Z, I love your comment during the credits, which is, now I want to play again because I know what the game's capable of. I would be very interested in playing a game similar to this with you again, Z, because there is benefit to system mastery here. But you don't have to have that, right? Which is kind of neat about the game as well, which I love.
Well, it would also be just interesting to see, what happens in how different it can be.
Well, and I tell you, having played with many different queens, that's incredible. But even if you had the same queen picture, it's always very, very different. Navi, I just love playing with you. You're such a generous, collaborative player. And we saw that in Brindlewood Bay, and we saw it here. So that's all my gushing. Alex Roberts, you've made as close to a perfect game as I've ever seen, and I will play it again next week when I'm at camping. Even though I just got done playing it, twice in the last 2 weeks. Z, your thoughts?
My thoughts. So we're doing Stars and Wishes, right? Kind of.
Not really, because there's nothing else after this. So I would just love what you
Right.
thought about the game and the game itself and the game we played, if that makes sense.
So the game itself, I like how simple it is. I just like, you don't need to have played any TTRPG or you don't even need dice. You can just whip this out in a car ride, technically. which is, I'm always a fan of like super sleek, easy to play systems that don't need any prep whatsoever. Like, and I think also you can, excuse me, Bird. I think you can also really convince people of getting quickly invested in playing this game. I thought it was great. I have to give kudos to you for bringing in the warlord thing, because I think that was a big thing, because it suddenly gave the journey somewhat clear direction, and I think that's due to you knowing the system and playing into that. It's like, okay, you knew, like, okay, let's define this journey a little bit. But yeah, everybody was super fun, and yeah, just sometimes you just want to bite your tongue and just scream, like, because you just want to scream something out. Really good.
Craig, you've played before.
I have, yes. I think the game is great. I really don't have much to say about the game itself, other than, I mean, it's because of the fact that the deck is shuffled, you don't know what order the questions are going to come in. You're never required to put the answers to the questions in any kind of chronological order. Like, we were pretty much taking things totally on vibes. Like, when did the assassination attempt happen? When did the chef's scullery maid lover get executed? Yeah, they kind of are relevant, but they don't have to be. You don't have to worry about somebody taking notes. And I guess, yeah, the ability to do it in a car ride is definitely, that will definitely be appealing to people. And about our game in particular, I thought everybody did a great job and asked really. I think Z, you may have asked in certain instances, asked like good question after good follow-up after good follow-up after good follow-up. But everybody had great questions, and everybody's contribution was fantastic.
It's really, really neat. I love the idea of playing in the car, by the way, Z. Like, I've never even thought about that. Like, how hard is that to come by? It's really neat to watch people get the game, because I think the secret to the game, so the game appears to be, I need to be nimble and be able to answer the question. But I think the secret to this game is listening. I think the better you listen, the better the game becomes, because you're able to pull in what Z said and what Craig said, right? And and that's when the magic, I think, really starts to happen, when we start yes-anding each other as we're playing and building off of each other. I think the secret to this game is listening. I really do. Last but not least, Navi, first time playing.
Yeah. Okay, so this is deep Navi lore, but my favorite genre of fiction is historical fiction done in memoir style, and typically from the point of view of a character that is not the most powerful character there is. And I felt, as we were playing this and describing our relationship with her, that she had become that main character, that leader character to the story. And I was really zeroed in on her and how all of the answers actually reflected on her and built her up. And I found it very interesting how she took shape and the kind of person that she became through the story, through the lenses of all of us. And that was a very cool moment, because I'm kind of obsessed with that type of fiction to begin with. So as we were painting her in, and I was getting a clear image of who she is and how she behaves, I really fell in love with it at that point. I could see the replayability. I can see where there would be system mastery, because I would love to interject more into like her life and her motivations and her drives that pushes all of these things to happen. I know that's maybe not 100% what the questions ask of you, but it feels like it's just right there. And the story is really about her.
I agree. Completely agree with you. And I think that can drive a lot of the follow-ups, Navi. So yeah, I think that the next time you play this, I think you should feel more empowered to learn memoir style, learn about her through us, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the follow-ups. I think that's wonderful. So I heard a rumor that between now and when the aliens arrive, that Western Pennsylvania is going to have a Kickstarter. Can we
Yeah.
talk about that a little bit?
Of course we can. So we are kickstarting Hedge this fall, shooting for late October. Hedge is a power fantasy game in which you play post-apocalyptic heroes that are charged by nature to fight back the fairies in the wake of a human ending kind of apocalypse. So there's not much of us left, and without us and the power of our belief, the hedge has weakened and the fairies are invading. So you become the superhero that's necessary to push them back so humanity can rebuild. It's very fun. It's very fast combat. It has elements of settlement building. So you are making sure that the settlements that you're watching over have enough, not just supply, but also hope, and enough people, and all of those things are dials. But it's very quick to learn, very fast, very easy. And it's really satisfying if you enjoy a fast, punchy combat game. So I'm very much looking forward to getting that out there. It's been out in zine form for a couple of years. This is the big one. It's everything from every zine we ever put out for the whole Hedge. It's basically an omnibus, but it's loaded with way more fairies than you can shake a stick at. Like so many terrifying fairies, and all kinds of new factions and so much good stuff. I'm genuinely very excited about it.
Navi, it's really hard to make a game that's great for a 45-minute or 90-minute one shot that can also play for the next year and a half. And you and Sean have done that with this game. It can be taught in minutes as you're playing. You don't have to like have the 30-minute download. You can just start playing. The character creation is very simple. It's evocative. The decisions you make build the character, not just write stuff on a sheet. It's a pretty special game. I'm a big fan. You were going to say something, Z. I talked over you.
Oh, I was just saying you had me at post-apocalyptic fairies. That's all I needed to
The best
hear.
kind of fairies.
Just yeah.
But do
Just
they
that
have
combination
mohawks?
is just like,
Because
oh,
you can't have.
What was that, Craig?
I was like, do they have mohawks?
I mean, it's your world.
Yeah. Oh, and the question is, where are they? The Mohawks. Thanks, everybody. We'll see everybody soon.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Howdy, friends. Thank you for watching. All our content is archived and organized in playlists on the Third Floor Wars YouTube channel. Check it out. And if you could like, follow, subscribe, and even set your notifications to this channel on YouTube and Twitch, we'd appreciate it, and it'll make sure that you catch all of our content. I talk with creators, designers, and experts across the gaming landscape in every episode of our podcast, Tabletop Talk. Open up your favorite podcatcher and search for Tabletop Talk from Third Floor Wars. Support your creators. They make the content you love, and it's your support that makes it happen. If you want to help us, go to Third Floor Wars on patreon.com, and you can help us for as little as $1 a month. Thanks again. We'll see you next time. Take care.